Hi, my name's Pont. I'm the co-owner of Bebop hair salon in London.
Hi, my name's Chloe. I don't even she. Everyone's watching me. I can't do this.
The client hairdresser relationship is very special. It's quite important because, with the hair salon itself, it's quite an intimidating place. You come into this, it can be quite loud. There's lots of things going on. There's a lot of cool looking people and stuff like that. So one of the things we do teach is trying to gauge that connection because, you can connect to everyone, and we do believe in that.
It's about making them feel comfortable so that they know what they want to ask for, because they're so used to just a trim just because they don't know what to say, and that's more the environment that you're setting. I think clients, you also build an unusual relationship with clients compared to a lot of jobs. But then we could be doing their hair for years. You could be spending 3-4 hours with them each time, and you tend to see them in really important parts of their life. So it's every time before a job interview, before they get married, before something big in their life. So you do tend to build that loyalty.
I think it does take a lot out of you because you sometimes are kind of performing. So the salon is essentially a stage. So, if you've got bad things happening in your life, you can't bring that over to the client because that's going to affect the process.
So it's interesting that you say a stage. That's how we kind of speak to our staff as well, because we know that it's hard to do that, and they're going to be going through hard times themselves, and then suddenly having to put on a happy face for a client is hard. Me and Pont both really enjoyed working with more curly and natural hair, and a lot of salons that we worked at weren't necessarily doing that. So that's something that we knew that we could create ourselves. Business-wise, there's always in any job that you have, there's going to be things that annoy you. I don't want to get too deep into those. I think even just as an employee, there's a lot of things that were always said to me that we can't have, as in even pay, holidays. I don't know, just all the simple things really. And it was quite nice to take on the challenge and figure out how we can make things work.
I think a lot of it was just breaking down stuff that we just didn't like. So,
Things are even wrong as well. It's just
we wouldn't do it. It's I think at that time, it was 5 years ago that we started, there was no kind of gender neutral pricing, which was just very weird for us. We both did a lot of short haircuts on kind of both genders or whatever, and men are having to pay much less more, and there's stuff that didn't make sense. And also with hairdressers, in terms of just being a lot more inclusive of different hair textures and things like that, that was not really a thing. I think a lot of salons just did the one thing, whereas we wanted to just be inclusive of everything.
Because we all work differently. So even when me and Pont came together, we still have a very different style of how we cut and how we colour. But it doesn't mean that either is right or wrong still. So we wanted stylists to be able to still have their own touch on everything, even though there's a certain standard that we're going to put in place.
We sort of noticed there was a lot of kind of ego hairdressing, where it's just the hairdressers just doing what they wanted to do and kind of forgetting about the person that's underneath, and just focusing on that, bringing it back, bringing it back to the client, and this is what we try to evolve here.
One of the biggest ethos we have is to teach the clients how to do their own hair, and I think that massively works for us because it's not about them leaving with the perfect style that one day. Yeah, we can polish it off and do a big bouncy blow dry, absolutely fine, because it looks stunning. But then most people aren't going to be able to recreate that the next day, so they only get one day out of it. Whereas then if we teach them how to do their hair, then their hair can look good until they need the next haircut.
A Bebop client is, I don't know, it's really hard to define that because, to be honest, it's kind of a lot of our clients are just similar to our stylists. They're into fashion, they like to have a bit of fun, it's a whole range of different things with that. What I've noticed in the industry about kind of hairdressers in general is we do take on quite an emotional and mental impact from dealing with clients, because we're almost performing in a way, and that sometimes can lead on to quite toxic traits in terms of drinks and drugs. And we've kind of been in salon environments where you really see that, and that kind of environment starts to affect the whole atmosphere and becomes like really toxic, and it has this negative impact on kind of everyone involved. And you know, for us, I think trying to kind of focus on like the hairdressers' like mental well-being is super important, because if you're not mentally doing a lot of self-care and things like that yourself, how can you transfer that onto your clients? And you know, it's quite easy for hairdressers to kind of fall in that thing of like party on the weekend and go mad to kind of get over that emotional and mental impact, but then that has loads of different effects in other parts of their life.
Well, it's been like it. I think a lot of salons that we were in, and it's been like that for years. It's kind of that back-to-back, client after client, no chance to yourself, it's long hours, everyone's tired, and there's only so long that everyone will do that for, because you realise that that work-life balance doesn't exist. Which is fine, because a lot of the hairdressers, they enjoy what they do and stuff, but it is still work. So we always wanted to make sure that was really important to us, of how we treat staff in that way, and giving them more work-life balance, giving them longer for clients.
You've got to look after your staff in sort of all aspects. Like, one of the things we do is we give them credit each month for, there's this app called Urban, and it's like a massage app. So they come around to your house and, you know, they massage you basically, and that's really important for a hairdresser. Like, we do put our bodies through kind of like a lot of stuff, you know, so you've got to be physically sort of well to do it. And again, that's another thing that we'll talk about, as well as being mentally well as well. Well, another main inspiration is always music for me. Bebop is kind of a jazz term, so it's based on, we were looking at music terms because we're just both into music, and you know, you get all those different subcultures that go with it, and then that dictates like the fashion behind it, and you know, going off with the hair and you know, the ideas, the attitude behind it, that's quite inspiring as well. I think a bit of advice that I would give to hairdressers is just kind of surround yourself with people that you inspire. You need to create that culture, and that's what's going to help kind of propel you in a way.
Find the salon that's right for you, for one, because I think that every salon is completely different, and there again isn't really a right or wrong way. But I've definitely worked in salons that weren't the right style for myself, and at that point I probably could have ended up giving up my career.
Life can be a bit frustrating sometimes, and it's the same with hair, but that's okay. You know, you sort of learn from it, and then you kind of push yourself a little bit more. But as long as you're kind of constantly finding that inspiration from others around you, you know, I think that's very important.